This episode of The Offensive Line is in partnership with Airbnb. As someone who does a lot of solo travel, comfort is always a top priority. That's why I find that some trips are just better suited for the Airbnb experience. All right, let's dive back in. If you guys didn't see, Amon-Ra wore this sweatshirt, which learn how to spell, my guy. Green Bay is 2 words, okay?
It's not like Mahomes where it's just like, I will create magic out of nothing.
It seemed like everybody's over there braiding each other's hair, making friendship bracelets.
That was by far the best MetLife catch, but honestly, like the best catch that I have seen in a while.
I'll give you a synopsis. Matt Eberflus got a haircut.
Maybe it's the curse of the contract. Like,
Jerry is not the answer for this Cowboys team. It's so unbelievably depressing.
No. Get your bag, Jonathan Mingo.
It's bad. And Purdy's showing his true colors. So poor 49ers.
What's happening in the state of Pennsylvania right now, specifically in Happy Valley? Is everyone okay?
From Wondery, I'm Annie Agar, and this is The Offensive Line. Welcome to The Offensive Line, you guys. We're here to make some picks, talk some shit, and hopefully make you some money. I am your host, Annie Agar, here with a team reporter for the New York Jets, which has a lot to say about things that are going on today, Caroline Hendershot. She's also the host of podcast Well Played, presented by The Skim. Welcome, Caroline. Thanks for joining the pod this week.
Annie, thanks so much for having me.
Of course. I feel like we have to start with some breaking news. We have basically our own Adam Schefter on the show. Mike Williams just got traded, and we were debriefing a little bit before we came on. I think this was a pretty expected trade after Aaron kind of threw him under the bus there. Launched him under the bus after that one game. And you said it yourself with Devontae coming in, the catches, the targets were going to be a lot slimmer. So what are your immediate thoughts on this Mike Williams trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers? And I think it was for a 5th rounder.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure on that, but I'll take your word for it.
We'll go off Twitter. I'm basing off Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I think a lot of people were talking about his name kind of being in the mix with the trade deadline. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that it was between the Steelers and the Jets when he was a free agent, were like some of the teams that he was deciding between. So I guess going to the Steelers does make sense. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers was just on Pat McAfee. He was kind of saying the same sentiment of that when they brought Devontae Adams into the Jets, everyone kind of knew their targets were going to go down, just obviously because of the chemistry that those two have and that connection. And then also just bringing another person in to catch some balls from Aaron Rodgers. So like, obviously there's just going to be less targets for everyone. And someone like Garrett Wilson, who played out of his mind on Thursday night, like he's going to continue to probably get the most receptions. But then you have like someone like Alan Lazard, who's kind of been like that old reliable in a sense for Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I think I'm always surprised by things like this, probably just because I'm naive and I think that that nothing's going to happen. But I'm happy for Mike. I know Aaron said sometimes getting like a new start while coming back from an injury is always hard, but now he's getting a new start with the Steelers, so he's happy for him. I'm happy for Mike Williams. Mike Williams is like the greatest guy on the planet.
Aww.
So
go Mike. We love to hear that. Yeah. Good for Mike. And the Chargers loved him. They if it weren't for so many injuries and he just couldn't stay healthy, I think they would have kept him for sure. So good for Mike. Way to start out the trade deadline on the right foot, unlike some coaches who got fired this week. But before we get into more Jets talk, we have a little segment we started the show with, Caroline, about things that were too offensive. These are stories that are too offensive to even discuss, so I don't waste more time on them. I spend about 10 seconds, and then we throw them away into the trash bin of NFL history.
Love it.
Starting with, Carr is the first quarterback to lose to 31 different NFL teams. My God. They play the Raiders this December. He could lose to all 32. That's pretty bad. Aaron Glenn's glasses, I don't know if you saw, were all fogged up. And the Packers still couldn't
see that.
Score on his defense.
Terrible. How are you reading, seeing
terrible.
anything?
Terrible. And lastly, the headstand touchdown sellies. This was took over the NFL this week. If you didn't see it, it was from a guy from Immaculate Word, which is hilarious. Hilarious, my guy. Way to represent your school. You're bringing things to the NFL from Immaculate Word. Very interesting. I think they'll stick around until someone gets hurt, hoping no one gets hurt, obviously. Right. But that was a very interesting
Yeah, I just feel like your touchdowns could be celebrated better, but who am I to judge, you know?
It was, yeah. And, the Lions did it, so I already think it's stupid. So get it out of here. All right, let's focus on the Jets. We talked a little bit about what happened today, but things are happening this next week because they're playing Arizona at Arizona, and Arizona is -1 against the New York Jets. You're obviously the team reporter. We just got the insight into Mike Williams. I want to know maybe what's the buzz, not so much with the trade deadline, but just with this past game. Great win against the Texans. They could be on the up and up, but also it's the Jets. And the Texans, first of all, their O-line is atrocious. CJ Stroud dressed up as Anthony Richardson for Halloween, so I don't know what was happening in that game. But what is the vibe around the team right now, in your opinion?
I would say that everyone was in obviously very good spirits post Thursday Night Football. I mean, getting a win is always lovely. But I would say that honestly, after talking to a lot of the players, they were like not completely satisfied, I think, with the performance. They didn't put up any points in that first half. And then talking to them, I was like, what changed at halftime? Because you guys came out, looked like a completely different team from the first drive. What was that? And can you kind of recreate that more often? I think it was, they say this, and I know they have said this in previous games, it's a lot of just shooting themselves in the foot and those little mistakes. And it's like, it almost sounds like too easy or too simple. It's like every NFL team says that, but literally it's always a game of inches. Like we're always coming down to the wire. I mean, Monday Night Football just came down to the wire. So it's just, I think it really is finding a little bit of that consistency, finding just those small errors that you can take out of the plays, whether it's the pre-snap penalties, whether it's holding calls, whether it's, whatever penalties that are being called. It's just fixing those tiny mistakes, because a lot of the time it's those things that are getting them in a hole that they can't seem to climb themselves out of once it's like already been created. Yeah,
turnovers and pre-snap penalties, or any penalties in that for that matter, they affect a win. As a Packers fan, I know. We're not going to get into that game right now, Caroline. We're not going to talk about it, guys. I'm fine. Okay. Speaking of the Packers, what is the relationship like, really genuinely, between Rodgers and Devontae right now? I mean, we saw him on McAfee when Devontae first got traded. It seemed like everybody's over there braiding each other's hair, making friendship bracelets. So what is the actual dynamic between the two?
I mean, I think it's only positive things. I have seen them, even just around the facility, they still seem like same old Rodgers and Devontae. I know that Devontae was staying at his house for a little bit. And then he went to the hotel because I think his family came over from Las Vegas. But yeah, I mean, how can it be really any different when you've had a friend for like over a decade, So I think it's same old, same old. I think still, obviously, they want to continue to work on that chemistry because there's so much established there that it's easy to kind of get back into the swing of things, but maybe not like they used to. So maybe there's just still shaking off some cobwebs and stuff like that. Because it has been a while since they've actually played together. So, but no, I think their relationship is same old, good vibes between the two of them, still best friends, still happy to be together, happy to be on the same team again. So
love always wins. That's so happy. So happy for them. I love Devontae. I was super sad to see him get traded. And the little bitterness that I think Packers fans have is that we offered him more money. Like it wasn't like a Saquon situation where like we're just not going to pay him. Dude, like we offered you. Anyway, I'm fine.
It's okay. My dad is a Raiders fan, so my dad was also heartbroken. So you guys were on the same wavelength.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So when we just talked about this a little bit earlier, Garrett Wilson, how did Devontae's incoming affect him? Because he had obviously that insane catch this past game, which we can talk about that too. First of all, do you think that was the best MetLife Stadium catch, shout out OBJ, that has ever happened? Do you think that rivals the OBJ catch? He went full Michael Jordan midair. No, that was wild.
Quite literally the exact replica of the Air Jordan logo.
Unbelievable.
Insane. I mean, so I'm biased, obviously, because I'm for the Jets. So I'm always going to say, but I'm also biased because I just think Garrett Wilson is not only the craziest, most athletic person I have ever seen. It's also just, he's the greatest human to walk the face of the planet. He's so nice and so down to earth. So I think that was by far the best MetLife catch, but honestly, like the best catch that I have seen in a while. Like, the whole concept, I talked to him after the game and I asked him, did you know right away that you were down and it counted and all of that? And he was like, I didn't know when my shin hit. I didn't know that my shin hit before my knee. But then when we were watching it replaying on the like big boards, it was obvious that my shin hit before my knee. And I think the broadcast had an even better clip of it. But I'm telling you, like the entire stadium was waiting with bated breath. And then the ref comes on and he gives the touchdown signal and the place erupted. It was insane. And his first touchdown catch, the first ball that he caught, was also a one-handed catch. So I was just like, can we relax? Like this athleticism is stupid. Like I cannot. Every week, I swear, he does something and I'm like, that was nuts. I don't think he can top that.
That is crazy.
And then he goes and does something else.
Garrett Wilson, I just love it. I've not met him in person, but it's good to hear he's a great guy too.
When you do meet him, you'll understand. He's just so great.
Okay, along those lines, it seems like things are clicking for the Jets. What do they have to do to become a playoff team? Do you think that's... Because I roasted him for Halloween, Caroline. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I did not think... I thought their chances were slim to none, let's just say. I threw around the number 0 very frequently. But now, I mean, it could trend upward. Their schedule's not as extremely hard. I think their scheduling was tough because it was so many short weeks back to back to back for them. But what are your thoughts? What do they have to do to become this playoff team?
The schedule was hard on me. I was like,
oh, that's a good point.
I was like, I have not slept in what feels like years. There's bags under my eyes upon bags. Like I'm exhausted. So I don't know how you do that, but then also play a football game. So kudos to them because that schedule was nuts to begin the season. So I think really the next step, and I think we've heard coaches and players on the team talk about this, is really getting that run game going. Because I think between the two main backs of Braylon Allen and Breece Hall, if they can really start kind of clicking on all cylinders and really firing on all cylinders, those two are such dynamic football players and they're such big threats out of the backfield that I just think that will be a whole nother dimension at the offense. So I think that would be a big one and probably the biggest one for them. And once that kind of gets ironed out and figures itself out, then I think all will continue to trend up, at least I hope. But yeah, I think that's the next big step for them.
That'd be big for fantasy players too. We'd like a little Breeze Hall action in there, I think.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, so the Jets have a long road back, as we know, to the playoffs. But a wise man, Caroline, and I use the term wise very loosely, once said, RELAX, relax. Aaron Rodgers said that in 14 about Green Bay when they won 9 of 10 and became the 2 seed. So catchphrases mean something around the NFL.
Okay.
In 2016, Rodgers said, I feel like we can run the table. We'll never forget that. The next thing you know, they were in the NFC Championship game. We won't talk about anything after that. Rodgers has done it before, but we're here to help him a little bit with this, Caroline. And now it's time for Catchphrase Workshop. So I think what's holding the team back is they need a good catchphrase. We're gonna facilitate those catchphrases for them here on the show today. We're gonna workshop. Let's start with the Jets. My catchphrase for the Jets, short and simple, just prepare for turbulence, okay? You know how plane gets a little bumpy every once in a while. Okay,
the plane pun, I like it.
Thank you. So that is my catchphrase for the Jets. Anything that comes to mind. And this could be a one sentence for you. It could be a word, a couple words, whatever you think summarizes the Jets season so far.
I'm biased because we just were talking about this, but I do think like an easy one is get it to Garrett because Garrett is...
That's a good one.
So freaky. He's so athletic. He's always going to catch the ball. It's just, he always finds a way to get himself open. Yep. I think that is kind of the key to success, personally.
Get it to Garrett. That sounds like an election campaign slogan. Get it to Garrett.
Get it to Garrett.
I like that.
I would love like a cool, catchy name like that. Caroline feels a little basic, so I don't know what we could really do with my name. But
do like a little Coraline like reference or something with your name.
The Coraline movie is so scary and terrible, though.
So scary.
Why is that movie for kids?
Wait a second. We need to talk about this for a minute. Every time TikToks come up from that movie, I scroll as quickly as humanly possible. freaks me out with the buttons. I don't know what the movie is even about.
No, me either. I remember watching it way, way long ago. I'm pretty sure it's freaky. I don't know if there was like a sewn up doll mouth at some point.
There's
it's like traumatic. I don't know why they make that for kids.
And it's animation. Ugh.
I'm glad you think of that when you think of my name, though.
Just the scariest movie known to man.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, get it to Garrett. I like that. Excuse our little rabbit trail there.
Yeah.
All right, the next team is the Eagles. For this one, I said, I'll take what's behind door number 3, and I'll explain my thought process behind this. Nick Sirianni doesn't ever do what you expect the man is going to do. So there could be door number 1, door number 2. Obviously, there's a prize behind each one, and he'd still go, give me what's behind door number 3. Man, take the points. Take the points. But he doesn't do that.
I feel like this might be unfair, but I just feel like Dumb It Down might be a better one because I just feel like it's too complicated over there right now. They have a lot of playmakers. It's just like, get the playmakers the ball, let the playmakers make the plays.
He's being too smart for his own good, which I never thought I'd use the word smart and Nick Sirianni together, but okay. And the last one, let's do the Bears. I think this one is, it's more of a sentence here, Caroline. I would say, okay, no, this coach, this is the one that will change everything. Because if there's any team that goes through quarterbacks as much as they go through coaches, it's the Chicago Bears. Man, they can't figure it out. So, but this time they will.
Yeah, but this is the one.
It's like Arrested Development, where he's like, that people are so stupid, they think this is going to work for them. But this might work for us.
Yes, but this actually might work for us. Yeah, I like that one for them. That I feel like makes sense. I don't know if I have a better one than maybe this one. It's tough knowing Bears fans out there. I have a couple close family friends that are Bears fans, and you can't help but feel bad because they were really hyped going into this season. Then they had the Hard Knocks. I mean, I didn't really watch Hard Knocks too closely, but Hard Knocks always hypes people up.
Yeah, I'll give you a synopsis. Matt Eberflus got a haircut. I
did see that scene on Twitter. Yeah. That was crazy. I just think that there was a lot of hype and excitement around it, feeling like it was different. And here we are yet again.
Here we are. Poor Chicago Bears. I actually don't feel bad. I would do a catchphrase for the Packers, but they can't catch anything. So we'll move on from that. Our pick for this game, Caroline, New York Jets, Arizona. I probably can anticipate who you're taking, but I'll still give you the benefit of the doubt. Who is your pick in this game?
I like how you read the room very well on that one. I am obviously going to go with the New York Jets. I believe in them. I think that this could be the beginning of a little hot streak for them. Maybe things are really starting to just wash themselves out, figure it all out. So I'm excited. I don't love a 4:25 game. I'm really just like a 1 p.m.er or a night game. That's just kind of my vibe. I don't like the in-between, but c'est la vie. I'm not playing, so it doesn't really matter.
It's like a weird little, do I take a nap? Do I watch the first half, then take it? I don't know.
Also, literally so specific of 4:25. I don't like it. Something about me does not vibe with it.
That should be your rant. Later in the show.
Okay, there you go.
Stupid time. This is a tough one. Arizona looked really good against the Bears, but it was the Bears. Although they have a pretty good defense. I've thrown this around a lot. I'll stick with the Jets on this one, just because we have you on the show.
Thank you. Stand in solidarity with me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're going to do a little fun thing here called MIDSEASON Superlatives. The season is halfway done, but we know where a few things stand. So yearbook style, let's hand out some superlatives. We have to give some guys credit where credit is due. And not to brag, Caroline, back in the day, I did win an award, and it wasn't most gullible, shockingly, guys. It was Best Smile. That was...
Well, that's a good one for you. That's a really good one for you.
I appreciate that. That was before the Packers got Jordan Love, though. So Smile has depleted.
I was really pissed that in high school I didn't win most athletic because I didn't play a winter sport. That was the kicker.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to put 2 minutes on the clock. I'll list off mine first, and you give me yours of who would be in our yearbook for these superlatives. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's start with cutest couple. I'm going to say Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels.
Oh, that's a good one.
Making little friendship bracelets on the sidelines on opposite teams. It's great. In division rivalries.
I think I'm going to go Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I like that. That's good. Yeah. My brother would like that one. Most likely to be subject to an internet scam. I am going to say, based on our past conversation just a minute ago, Nick Sirianni. The man is probably supporting 15 Nigerian princesses. Caroline, your turn.
I think that this could be mean, but like Andy Reid just seems really sweet to me. And like maybe it's a little bit of
that's
the
who they go for.
Yeah, no, exactly. They target those vulnerable, really kind looking people. So I feel like it could be him. That makes me sad thinking about that though.
That's tough. Okay, future president. Who's most likely to be future president? I'm going to go with the one and only Jameis Winston because he has more motivational speeches than touchdowns this year.
That's a good one. I want to go with, I was going to say Puka Nacua because I feel like everyone loves him. I know he did get ejected.
Win America over.
I know he did get ejected because of the punch this weekend, though was it really a punch?
There's a stronger punch at high school dances. That's ridiculous.
Please. Yeah, come on, I agree. Bro. So I'm going to stay with him. I think he's good kid.
Puka Nacua. I'd vote for him. Most likely to succeed. I said anyone who plays the Saints.
Oh my God, that's good. Then you know what? I'm going to do anyone that plays with Patrick Mahomes because what the heck? They can't lose.
That's a great one. Oh, yeah. That's a winner right there. That's true. The man can't lose. Look at Monday night. That was crazy.
You know what the most telling piece of evidence was on Monday night when they did the coin flip for overtime and Baker lost it and he just head back was just defeated already. I was like, see, everyone knows if you give the Chiefs the ball, they will score.
Okay, last one. Most likely to get fired. I'm going to say anyone who tries coaching Derek Carr.
I'm going to say Mike McCarthy.
Yep.
Even though there's been reports again and again that he's not getting fired. Yeah, I know that he's not getting fired. I don't know. Dallas is in a tough spot right now. Yeah. So I don't know.
100% agree with that one. All right, you guys, I like our yearbook. I think this is a keeper. I think we could get some cool signatures, have some good quotes, end of the year quotes. All right, guys, after the break, we have more picks, and I will explain why I'm wearing this atrocious sweatshirt right here on the offensive line. As someone who travels a lot on my own, reliability is always important for me when booking a place to stay. That's why I love Airbnb. Airbnb makes it super easy to see all the guest feedback in one place. If you see that a property is a guest favorite, you know it has rave reviews and is a tried and true place to stay. That's a great place to start if you're looking to book your next Airbnb. I really do love the homey feeling of an Airbnb. I can be myself when I need to focus on editing or work, and then I also have the whole place to myself when I need to unwind. It makes all the difference whether you're traveling solo or with family and friends. Plus, sometimes I'm able to meet the hosts in person, which is so nice to finally put a face to the name. It's nice to know I'm staying in a home that someone really loves and cares about. For example, when I was in California staying in an Airbnb for the big game, I met the host, she welcomed me into her home and made me a drink, and we sat and talked like we were friends. Having that kind of familiarity with a place before you just move in is so nice, and that's why I love Airbnb. All right, guys, the NFL season is rolling along, and the contenders are separating from the pack. The one thing that hasn't changed, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and the best place to bet touchdowns. We don't care how they get them, we just want to bet on them, and DraftKings Sportsbook is the place to do it. So score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TOL. That's code TOL for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
All right, you guys, we're back. Caroline, if you have seen my brother and I, it's a house divided. Johnny is a big Lions fan. And this week, obviously, you guys know what happened. I'm not going to go into details. For those of you that can't see visually what I'm wearing, it's just, it's the worst vomity sweatshirt you've ever experienced in your life is the only way I can explain it. And we have a little explanation as to why I'm wearing it. So please enjoy.
As you know, the kings of the NFC North, the Detroit Lions, won again this week. For 3 straight times, as a matter of fact, dating back to last season. Every single time this happens, Annie and I tend to have a little wager on the game. And this week's wager was inspired by my dear friend, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hello, Annie. Rainfall.
I hope you don't get Zadarius Smith. I hope you are miserable for the rest of your life.
That doesn't mean
was this worth it to lose his sister?
Turning red.
What a jerk. What an
oh my God. No,
jerk.
see, that is like the epitome of having a brother because like, they will never let you live anything down,
Nope.
and then they will proceed to absolutely just shove your nose in it.
Absolutely.
Those are brothers. So lucky to have them.
He's a real one. He might not be mine for much longer, but he, if you guys didn't see, Amon-Ra wore this sweatshirt, which learn how to spell, my guy. Green Bay is 2 words, okay? God. I'm surprised he didn't spell sucks wrong. He wore the sweatshirt before the game, whatever, stupid storyline, and I don't even know why we have this thing. I wore the sweatshirt, and Johnny thought it would be a great idea for me to wear it on the podcast, and I, being the dumb idiot that I am, agreed to it because I thought the Packers weren't going to have 6 drops and 1 million penalties, and they were going to win that game.
He should have also given you the cheese grater hat.
Did you see that?
Incredible.
People.
You know, his wife is a Packers fan.
Oh, really?
I found him on Twitter. Well, I think his tweet started trending on Twitter, so that's how it popped up on my timeline. But
what is happening in the education in America?
Yep.
Letting people wear cheese graters out there with his wife being a Packers fan.
Yeah, it was funny. I did laugh. That is
hilarious.
Right up my alley with that type of humor.
Yeah. It is funny. Whatever. You guys have your enjoyment. The Packers are on a bye this week. Thank God. Nobody needs a bye more than Jordan Love right now. But so we're going to focus on Detroit. Detroit is heading to Houston. Houston is plus 3.5 on Sunday night. I think this will be a good game. The Texans, like I said, are a 3.5 point home dogs. So thoughts on this game before we get into it. There is some breaking news about Detroit. I woke up to my brother. I'm home, by the way, this weekend because I'm a glutton for punishment. And my brother was screaming about Zadarius Smith this morning. The trade finally happened. They got a 5th and a 6th for him. Good trade for Zadarius Smith. He doesn't completely cover Aiden Hutchinson's, take over Aiden Hutchinson's role because Aiden Hutchinson literally was their pass rush. So it's hard to do that. Couldn't get Myles Garrett because the Browns didn't want to trade him. And this can be hard for Zadarius Smith because he was used to Myles Garrett being like the top of all the scouting reports. They didn't really worry too much about Zadarius. Now the offenses are going to be looking for him first. So it'll be interesting how that plays out in Detroit.
The Zadarius Smith thing kind of reminds me of how like Quinnen Williams had that career year. I think, was it 2 years ago or was it last year? I can't remember what day of the week it was, but
it's the Jet schedule.
He had the career year, and then teams were like, oh, he's a problem. We have to double team or triple team him. And so then it like really just started stifling him because he's getting complete, like no matter where he lines up, it's bodies to Quinnen to like cover him, to stop him, whatever. And I mean, you see what happens when he lines up against someone where it's an uneven matchup, and he'll totally bulldoze them. So it does a little bit remind me of that, not having someone like Myles Garrett to kind of distract and pull some bodies away from him. But yeah, hoping that he is, you know, helping the Lions in that sense of replacing Aiden Hutchinson. Because like you said, you can't really replace Aiden Hutchinson because he is who he is. But they definitely need to add that to their package.
For Houston's side of things, do you think Houston is in trouble, or was this just a one-time thing against the Jets last game?
It's interesting because I think that, weirdly enough, 2 years in a row, the Jets have had that 5-game losing streak. Not great, but the 5-game losing streak. And then they broke it at home against the Texans. So I don't know if it's like the Texans' bad vibes at MetLife just like can't break that kind of cycle, or if it's just like maybe the Texans aren't really what we thought they were, but I don't know because I'm pretty sure this is week 10 coming up, correct? Isn't Nico Collins eligible to return from IR? So that could be a big difference maker for CJ Stroud because obviously they've been missing him
and
with Stephon Diggs being out. That's a whole nother thing. So that could be a big addition for them and kind of help get their offense like up and running. But the Lions, it's so tough because you look at them top to bottom. And I know a lot of teams like on paper, like preseason, they look really good, right?
Yeah.
You look at them top to bottom and you're like, where's the hole? Yeah. They're just really well fitted. So I think I don't know. I'm kind of leaning more towards the Lions on this one. I know it is technically a home game for the Texans, but I don't know.
The thing is you have to put up 30 to beat Detroit. So you have to think of teams that can put up 30 on this defense. And I would have said CJ Stroud maybe last year, but I don't know. Texans are just kind of on the downturn right now. And Detroit, in terms of like best team, I mean, they're best team in the NFC for sure. In the NFL, is there another team you think that's better than Detroit other than Kansas City at this point in time?
Kansas City.
Yeah, other than the undefeated team. I just don't know if there's
not that like is so glaringly obvious, you know? Like there might be one day of the week where someone gets the best of them, but like for the most part, they're so complete. So it's like, where do you go? It's not like Mahomes where it's just like, I will create magic out of nothing.
Yes.
But it's just there's a guy for every need on the team already.
Exactly. Especially with Za'Darius now. And I would have said the Eagles maybe, but their coaches can't get out of their own way. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so picks for this game, you're taking
the Lions.
The Lions.
Yeah. Sorry to break your heart.
I think I'm going to take Detroit easily, plus to cover the -3.5. Give me Detroit. I'm not even going to take Houston to cover. I know. It's a weird thing, Caroline, because I like to see my brother happy occasionally, but occasionally. I don't.
But not at your expense, you know?
No, exactly. Yeah. And if Detroit made it to a Super Bowl, man, I'd be right there with them.
Right.
Not in Detroit gear, but I'd be right there with them, supporting the NFC, supporting the NFC North. There's a line. We'll support family, but there is a line. Okay, next game. Speaking of, we just were talking about Philly. Philly plays the Dallas Cowboys, who, oh dear God, they're +7.5. It's at home. I genuinely think that's a generous line for them because they are imploding. Not only is 36% of their salary cap getting an MRI right now, they just traded for wide receiver, guys. Breaking news. They traded for wide receiver Jerry Jones, making moves at the trade deadline, and you would not believe who it was. It was Jonathan Mingo. Jonathan Mingo, for more than they traded for Amari Cooper, for more than DeAndre Hopkins was traded to the Chiefs. Jerry, my guy. Jerry, oh man, you should go all in a retirement home. It's bad. It has gotten bad.
I'm not a billionaire. So, I don't get paid to make the big bucks, but crazy.
Oh my God. What were they thinking? And no disrespect to Jonathan Mingo, obviously.
No.
Great.
No. Great Get your bag, Jonathan Mingo.
But to be traded for that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I hope Philly just destroys him because it's bad. And Dak was seen on the sidelines. Did you see the video?
You took the words out of my mouth.
He said, we effing suck for a little. It wasn't effing. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
And if
I will say this quickly. I'll say this quickly that I think that I've said this before, and maybe I'm not 100% accurate with this. I would rather take a team with like the greatest culture than a team with like the best talent because culture trumps everything, like in my opinion, from teams that I have been on and whatnot. So I think that for me, I'd much rather play for a team that has like great culture than like the greatest superstars, right? So when the quarterback of your team is seen saying that, that's gotta be a tough one.
It is almost like you knew what we do on this show, Caroline, because that could not have been a better tee up to our segment for this game. This is a game called Would You Rather. So basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna compare teams to the Cowboys and see would we rather Be a fan of that team. It's like you knew. It's like you're in my head. It's like
what can I say? The telepathy.
Crazy. Great minds think alike. Okay, so the Cowboys, being a Cowboys fan has been tough this year since probably 1995, to be honest. Yeah. McCarthy, like we said, should probably get fired. Dak looks worse after the contract. Mike Parsons might leave. It could get even worse in Dallas than it currently already is. So
wait, and also didn't Zeke not travel because of
because he missed meetings.
Yeah.
Yes, and you know what they did? You know what the Dallas Cowboys did? They put CeeDee in at running back at 4th and 1. They also ran a jet sweep to CeeDee Lamb on 4th and 1. This team is atrocious. It is the worst I've ever seen. No discipline, no offensive identity. It's terrible. So here's how it works. We'll ask if fan bases would trade situations with Dallas. We'll see how many we can get through before we say no to see how bad the Cowboys actually are. So I'll list off a team. And you'll say, would they trade with it? Would they rather be Cowboys fans or would they rather be fans of themselves?
Their own team. Yeah, okay. Got it.
Is being a Patriots fan right now worse than being a Cowboys fan? Yes or no?
Definitely not worse. Definitely not worse. Yep. I think particularly Patriots fans were really jazzed by the win over the Jets, unfortunately for me. Obviously, because it's an AFC East game. And Drake May has shown a lot of promise. So yes, it's not great because you had Tom Brady for forever and you're used to winning at the highest degree, but okay, you're not at the bottom of the barrel, you know?
Yeah. That's what we said when we were writing up these teams because they were the franchise for a while. Okay? Yeah. Franchises die, just like the Chiefs hopefully will soon. Is being a Giants fan worse than being a Cowboys fan?
I think that's tough because particularly after the Saquon backwards hurdle last week, that people are probably, particularly Giants fans, crying over. But I still think you have Malik Neighbors, so there's excitement there because he is so good and he has shown what he's capable of.
There's a future.
Yes, and there's been glimpses where the team actually competes really close in games and keeps it completely reasonable score-wise. So I think it's okay, it's not all hope lost. Maybe there's a quarterback change in the near future, who knows? But still no.
Is being a Jags fan worse than being a Cowboys fan right now?
Yeah.
Wow. That's depressing for Jags fans.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. I would probably agree with that one.
There's
because of the Trevor Lawrence contract.
There's no silver lining that I can see on that one.
I mean, Dak had a bad contract, has a bad contract too. But with Dak, Trevor,
contract?
You didn't know what you were getting. Yeah, because I was thinking the Trevor contract is why it's so bad for the Jags right now. But they paid Dak a ton of money too. So
maybe it's the curse of the contract.
Maybe. The other one, and then I think it goes up from here. Being a Dolphins fan, is that worse than a Cowboys fan right now?
No, I think they're still happy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely not thrilled, but I think they're better than Cowboys.
Yeah. Okay, so we kind of end with the Jags. I think that's pretty sad. Oh,
yeah, that's tough.
And it's the front office in the Cowboys organization because you can look to your future when you have a good GM, when you have a good owner. Jerry is not the answer for this Cowboys team. It's so unbelievably depressing. And I don't want to hear personally from him. I don't know why he's still doing press conferences after the game. I don't want to hear your plan for the future. It's like the SpongeBob episode where this is one of my favorite SpongeBob episodes.
I love a SpongeBob reference.
Okay, good. Where she says, you should be in a mental hospital. I don't remember who says it. I think it was Plankton. He goes, you should be in a box floating down the river, Grandma.
I think you're right.
Every time Jerry Jones opens his mouth, should be floating down a river in a box, Grandpa. Golly.
It's really hard because, I think a lot of rom-coms have said this before, but sometimes if you love her, let her go.
Yes.
Maybe that's the answer here.
That's their catchphrase.
Again, not a billionaire, not paid the big bucks to make those decisions, but
someday, maybe someday.
Sure. I'll live on that pipe dream.
Okay. Picks for this game. Philly at Dallas. Like I said, Dallas is plus 7.5. Who are you taking in this game?
For sure, the Eagles. For sure.
Yep. There's no doubt in my mind. Home game or not does not matter to me. I mean, the sun will probably be in Dak's eyes again like it was. Oh, well, Dak's not even playing. We've got Cooper Rush.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this game's going to be misery. Coming up, we have our most offensive game of the week, and maybe it might just be the best one yet this year, right here on the offensive line. Welcome back to the offensive line, you guys. It is time for the offensive line's most offensive game of the week. This game, though, might be the worst game that we ever have to sit through the entire NFL season, 2024 NFL season. You can only imagine. And thank God it's in Germany, so they don't have to do it on USA turf. The Giants versus the Carolina Panthers. Germany, I would just like to apologize for this game. Don't be offended. This is not punishment for World War II. This is just...
I feel like it's not a good representation of us.
No, not at all.
Yeah, we're not sending any of our good assets.
No,
Zero.
We're sending a lot of ass, though. Oh, man. Okay. What should the punishment be for the team who loses? If let's say the NFL got fun again, because it's the no fun league. Oh, well, you probably can't say that. Sorry.
Yeah.
What if the NFL got fun and had a punishment for teams that lose abroad? What should that punishment be?
That's a really good question. I feel like the obvious answer, and maybe this isn't obvious to everyone else, it's just obvious to me, is that you have to get yourself home, like not by plane. Like you have to.
That's hilarious.
To cross
it's like the Amazing Race. Yeah.
Exactly. Figure it out yourself. I don't care. We don't help you. There's no plane allowed. So you have to like traverse through Europe and then you have to somehow cross the body of water, get back home. I don't care how you do it.
That is amazing. That's the best
or
thing
like
ever.
Maybe like Viking ship style rowing, because that could also be painful. Trust me, I'm a rower. It's not fun.
Yes.
So yeah,
true.
I think maybe that's the best punishment, because like how awful to even consider and think of.
Yeah. Can you imagine Daniel Jones doing
plenty.
that? Just Daniel Jones in a tiny little rowboat paddling across the
that would be
Pacific Atlantic.
Sad. Very sad.
It's bad. Okay, I have a fun little stat too. We all know the joke this year about Daniel Jones passing touchdowns at MetLife, that it's been like 673 days since he'd last thrown a passing touchdown. Between his two most recent passing touchdowns, J-Lo and Ben Affleck have gotten married and divorced in that amount of time. Can you believe it? Technically, the divorce isn't finalized, so whatever.
Yeah, I was just about to say, are we sure?
The joke's there. Yeah. Isn't that hilarious?
I think I also sent this to someone. This is another good one about that. The Chiefs won 2 Super Bowls between Daniel Jones' most recent 2 passing touchdowns at MetLife Stadium.
Isn't that wild? That's crazy. That's crazy. Poor Daniel Jones. But hey, he's not great. Paid, so he's getting paid. Okay, who's our pick for this game? The Giants at Carolina. Carolina is +5. Giants are favored. It's interesting that the Giants are favored. That might be the first time they've gotten favored this season. I think I'm going to take Carolina to cover. They might win this game, but I'll take them to at least cover.
I'm so torn because I think the abroad aspect really makes it anyone's game. But I'm going to say, I'm going to be nice to the friends that I have in the area, and I'm going to pick the Giants.
Okay. Wow. That's very nice. That's big. Way to be the bigger person.
Thanks. Nice. I try. Not often, but I try.
Well, that's more than Bryce Young can do. Okay. It is time for one of my favorite segments of the show, No Offense. This is the part of the show where you can rant about anything you want to talk about. It could be life. It could be your marriage. It could be, future marriage. It could be at the games. Anything that is making you upset lately, you can talk about it here. This is a safe space. So all you have to do is say no offense to start the sentence, because everybody knows when you say that, it's not offensive. Right. I will start with mine. Are you ready?
Yes. All ears.
No offense, but I think going for 2 down 14 is dumber than Mike McCarthy. This is the stupidest thing ever. And I know analytic people are going to come for me, but just listen, okay? Now, I'm not saying what you're all thinking, and that's, she doesn't know ball. She doesn't want you to go for 2. It's a smart move. I'm saying for teams that can actually score. Okay, the Giants are not one of those teams. Did the Giants analytics team take into account the fact that they have converted that exactly 0 times this year, or the fact that Daniel Jones sucks? Okay, I did with my own 2 eyes. I don't need analytics to see that, even though they do help because the analytics suck also. I think it's stupid. I don't like going for 2 already. There's a lot of going for 2 this week with the Bucs, with Seattle. They just went going for it in general, but analytics, I think, kills it. And I'm not a fan of it, especially when it's with teams like the New York Giants who can't even get into the red zone. That is my no offense of the week.
I really respect that. Because I know some people were talking about that with the Monday night game. Like, why did you even give them the opportunity, the Chiefs, to like get back in the game? And it's like, that's just, it's not a sure thing.
Yeah. And that one, Todd Bowles was like, he's a defensive minded guy. So of course he was going to leave it up to his defense to make a stop. But it's Mahomes. You're already in, like, you have to go 75, 100 yards to get back into the spot that you're in right now. It comes down to one play. Everybody says, oh, it came down to a lot of things. No, Todd. And like you said, Baker, his face when they
writing was on the wall.
He knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a rant for us today, Caroline?
Okay. I mean, I have so many gripes that I could just truly go off about. But I think the most relevant, the most timely thing for me, I think Penn State students need to take the male collective in particular. I think they need to take a giant deep breath and they just need to sit down because not one, but two different instances this weekend. Obviously, everyone's has seen the Jason Kelce thing. I don't know if everyone's seen the extended version that I saw last night at like 10:30 when I was deep diving on Twitter, but the video continues after Jason gives the guy his phone back. And the guy like runs after Jason, screaming every name in the book at him. Then he turns back to the camera and is like, Travis Kelce broke my phone. Travis Kelce broke my phone. I'm like, that's Jason Kelce. Weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know where the audacity comes from to confront and antagonize and try to provoke a 300-pound man that used to move 300-pound men for a living. That's wild to me.
And that guy wasn't pushing like 150, soaking wet.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then like the other student that I don't know what he said to James Franklin as he was walking off the field, but the guy looked like he was straight out of Peaky Blinders. He says something to James Franklin as he's walking off the field. James Franklin goes to be like, what's your name? And the student turns around and starts walking up the staircase. And I'm like, here's the thing, everybody. If you can't dish it, then you can't take it. So maybe just don't dish it. And also, who raised you?
You know what, Caroline? That fan that talked to him, he folded faster than James Franklin against a top 5 opponent.
Man. I wasn't going to say it, but you took the words out of my mouth.
That's a good one, though. I love that one because I didn't make the correlation that they both were Penn State until you said
I'm just
that.
Like, what's happening in the state of Pennsylvania right now, specifically in Happy Valley? Is everyone okay?
Not very happy, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, not all happy campers down there.
Not happy at all. Okay, I like it. Do you feel better? Do you feel like you got it off your chest? You ranted.
Yeah, I definitely need the internet to like do their thing and find out the guy who's provoking sweet Jason Kelce because
I'm surprised they haven't found him yet because the internet's great.
I know, right? So I'm excited for that one. But once that comes to fruition, I feel like I'll feel much better.
Well, internet, do your thing. In the meantime, we'll go over our picks here and see. I think we agreed on quite a few. There's one that we didn't agree on, which is good because, we have to have a winner and a loser.
Yeah.
So let's go over them. The ones we agreed on, Caroline, are the Jets to win at Arizona, Detroit to win at Houston, and Philly to win at Dallas. I feel pretty confident about those. And the one we disagreed on, the Giants to win in Germany. I took Carolina to cover in Germany +5. Not necessarily to win, but at least to cover. I feel like our picks are pretty good. I feel pretty good on those.
Yeah, I think we did a good job. I think, agreeing on most, I'll take it.
Well, the great minds think alike thing is really playing in.
Come on. How could we not,
How could you? Yeah, come on. We're the best. Well, thank you, Caroline, for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time. It's been great to have a Jets insider with all this breaking trade drama going on with the Jets. I feel like that was
it timed up really well. I'm glad it worked in our favor. But no, truly, thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure. I'm like so not quippy like you are, so I feel proud that I kind of held my own. So
absolutely, absolutely, It was so fun.
Good,
I think
good.
I think you're right, and you probably can't make those jokes and or talk like that in your job, in your setting. So if you ever want to come on and rant about things,
there you go. I know who to come to.
Absolutely.
Definitely know who to come to if I need to get something off my chest.
Yes, 100%. We'll do our little, we had a little therapy session in one of the shows. So if you ever need that, we're here.
There you go.
All right, Caroline, before you go, tell the people where they can follow you, where they can listen to your podcast, anything like that.
So you can follow me at CG Hendy, HENDY. That's essentially my username on everything. So you can follow me there. We drop a well-played episode presented by The Skim every Tuesday. Usually comes out like midday or afternoon. It's kind of a roundup of all the sports stories dominating your feeds. So you can be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, if you do follow the Jets already, you'll see my face popping up on your feed, whether you want to or not. So you're stuck with me.
Love it. That's it for this week on The Offensive Line, you guys. Be sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and you can watch our full podcast episode on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. I will see you guys next week, and as always, Des didn't catch it.